This July 6th MLB Betting Picks show edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Circa Sports. Circa Sports is back with the Circa Survivor and Circa Millions contest. $14 million up for grabs. Get all of the details at circasports.com. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Wednesday, currently 5:03 on the East Coast, here to discuss our Thursday betting picks for July 6th. And joining me here to help me break it all down, you guys know him as the voice of the WNBA Gambling Podcast, NFL, and of course here on the MLB Gambling Podcast. It's Dylan Rockford. D-Rock, how you feeling, my man?
Oh, it's a scorcher over here on the East Coast. I'll tell you that. It's about 97 degrees out, but finally got some nice weather here. Start our day with a winner. Houston, they got through on the run line for us. So nice one in day, and I can't wait to break down these games with you guys.
Yeah, great start to the day. I was on the Astros run line as well. Took their team totals as well. Got to the bank there, at least for the full game one by the hook. But yeah, great start today. Hopefully we can carry that into the Thursday betting picks as well. But also joining us, the man is knee deep in NBA Summer League like a psycho. You guys know him as a voice on the NBA pod. And of course, you're on MLB as well. It's Delonte Smith. How you feeling, my man?
Yeah, man, making it a team ride. I was on the Astros also. So that's a good start to the day. Got some intriguing pitching matchups on the docket today. So looking forward to breaking that down with you guys.
Yeah, some pretty good matchups for the Thursday schedule. Just at the top, I think it's a 12-game schedule. 3 games are off the board currently as we are recording this episode with our picks. That's going to be the Astros game against the Mariners. We have the Phillies and the Rays who are also off the board, and then the Jays and the White Sox who are currently off the board as well. See if we do have pitching matchups. We'll give some thoughts if we're leaning one way or the other when we do get to those games. But gentlemen, let's just dive right into the schedule here. Got some day baseball tomorrow, daysball as we like to say it around these parts of the woods. Starting with the first game on the board, it's going to be a 1:05 Eastern start. Got the Cincinnati Reds against the Washington Nationals. I'm seeing Brandon Williamson is going to get the start here for the Cincinnati Reds. And Mackenzie Gore, left-handed pitcher for the Nationals, gets the start. Currently seeing the Nationals are a slight home favorite here at -115. Money line for the road team, the Reds, is at -105. Total set at 9.5. A little bit of vig towards the over, and run line -1.5 +160 for the Nationals, and +1.5 -190 for the Cincinnati Reds. Dylan, lead us off, my man.
Yeah, let's start with the total in the first game. I like the over. I was able to grab a 9, still like it at 9.5. I made my total 9.8. Just basically going to fade both pitchers in this game. Mackenzie Gore was god-awful in his last start against the Phillies, but he's actually been better on the road than at home this season. The last month of Gore has not been ideal. His hard hit rate is in the high 40s, and 4 of his last 5 games have been shootouts. They've gone well over this number as well. And Brandon Williamson on the other side, he's been okay, but he's allowed 2 or more runs in 8 straight starts. Nationals, they destroy lefties. I think we're going to see a higher scoring game here. So give me the over 9.5.
Yeah, I'm with you, D-Rock, on that. I couldn't bring myself to back either one of these pitchers. And there's been a couple starts here and there where, they've looked like good pitchers, but I think we're mostly seeing pitchers that at least these 2 pitchers that have been pretty mediocre so far this season. And again, I don't want to fade or not back the Cincinnati Reds bats, especially over the last month, what they've been able to do. So I argue about the over here. I love the over 9.5 in this game here as well. Lante, what do you like for this game?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Couldn't have said it better myself. I found myself on the over. I grabbed a 9 also. Like D-Rock mentioned, Gore, he's been up and down. In June, he went from 5 earned to no earned, went back to 5 earned, 1 earned, and now he's allowed 7. So if you believe in that kind of, I guess, consecutiveness, then he's due for a pretty good game. Like D-Rock said, he has pitched better at on the road versus at home. 3 earned runs or fewer in 3 of his last 4 starts. And D-Rock mentioned Washington. Not Washington, but Cincinnati being good against lefties. Man, the 261 on the season, 5.7 runs per 9. 246 in their last 10 though. So a little bit of I guess a little bit of change in between those numbers, but they still hit them well. Washington also hits lefties well at 275, 4.5 runs per 9. So I think that all lines up for over here. Slight lean to the Washington as a home dog.
All right, next game on the board, it is going to be a 1:10 Eastern start. We got the Oakland A's. They are in Detroit to take on the Tigers. Hogan Harris gets to start here for the Oakland A's, and Michael Lorenzen is getting the start here for the Detroit Tigers. Plus 135 on the money line for the Oakland A's, minus 155 on the money line for the home team, the Detroit Tigers. Total is set at 8.5. Run line minus 1.5, plus 140 for the Tigers, plus 1.5, minus 165 for the Oakland A's. Whose game is this? My game? I think so. Yeah, this is mine. I'll start here with Hogan Harris, left-handed pitcher for the Oakland A's. There's been a consistent theme for this Oakland A's team how bad the pitching staff has been, and Hogan Harris is right on that train as well. I guess we can say on the season 2-2 with a 5.17 ERA. Over his last 3 games, he's allowed 10 earned runs in just 16 innings pitched, 0-2 in his last 3 starts with a 5.62 ERA. Opponents on base percentage at 342, and he has a whip of 1.50 over his last 3 games as well. On the road, he is 1-0, but he does have a 5.52 ERA. 9 earned runs allowed off of 14 hits in 14 2/3 innings pitched on the road. Now, Detroit against left-handed pitching, they've been all right, at least over the last 2 weeks. Team batting average, they are sitting at number 20. Slugging, they are number 15. WRC plus, a stat I love looking at, they are at number 16 as well. So compared to their season-long average, they've actually been decent, at least over the last 2 weeks. On the other side is Michael Lorenzen. Again, another pitcher that has not been having a great season thus far for the Detroit Tigers. On the season, he is 2-6 with a 4.28 ERA. At home, 2-3 with a 4.18 ERA. During the day, 0-2 with a 5.35 ERA. This one is pretty simple for me, guys. I'm not putting my money on a minus 155 favorite with Michael Lorenzen in the Detroit Tigers. If you think there's value here on the A's, I couldn't argue against it. We did see them get the 1-0 victory. I believe that was on Tuesday night against this Detroit Tigers team, which kind of led me to the over here, over 8.5. I feel like these are 2 teams, offenses that can get to the opponent's starting pitcher. I thought 8.5 was a little conservative. Definitely do want to check the weather tomorrow in Detroit before looking at this over. But in my initial lean was the over. I just couldn't bring myself to a side in this game here, D-Rock.
Yeah, I can't talk you off the over. I mean, I made my total 9.1, so I do like the over. I think we'll see some runs, but I'm actually surprised the Tigers opened up a minus 140 favorite. I mean, I jumped on that at 155, 160. It is getting up there. I wouldn't lay it then. Maybe, like Mal likes to say, maybe one of those 1.5 plays with the Tigers, but listen, I'm not the biggest Marco Lorenzo fan either, but I do think he's better than Hogan Harris. Lorenzo's hard hit rate at home has been in the high 20s, low 30s. It hasn't been that bad, and Tigers just couldn't get him any run support. I think that's why you're seeing such bad numbers on his side. But, I think they'll be able to get to Hogan Harris, who's just been awful on the road this season. So I jumped on the Tigers, slight lean with them, but I agree. If you don't want to lay the high juice with the Tigers at home, I agree on the over.
Lonte, what do you got?
Yeah, I make it a team ride. I like the over also. I mean, it was kind of fluky what Oakland did on Tuesday. Only 2 hits and they won the game. And Detroit pretty much left a bunch of people stranded on base. I mean, they had I think Scooble had a no-no going like into the 7th. Well, they pulled him in the 5th, I think. It was a combined. There's a combined no-no in the 7th, and he gave up a base hit to the second base side. So yeah, I mean, I think both teams will be able to score here, especially on the respective pitchers. You guys laid it out. Harris 4 earned runs in back-to-back starts. He's allowed a home run in 4 of his last 5 starts. So maybe look at some Tigers home run props or total base props, whichever you're most a fan of. And I'm not really a fan of Lorenzen, but against lesser competition, he has pitched well, and I think we can all agree that Oakland is lesser competition. By lesser competition, I mean in offensively, like Kansas City offensively, White Sox offensively, Pittsburgh, they were in their slump, and even the Mets to a certain degree. Sorry, D-Rock, but
Hey.
yeah, this is before the streak.
words.
Yeah, this is
That was in
streak.
June, not July.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, he's allowed to earn or fewer in 5 of his 7 home starts. So, Oakland's batting 214 versus righties. I think it's better. You get better bang for your buck. I'd play the plus 140. Is that what you said on the run line?
Minus 1.5 for the Tigers.
Yeah, plus 140.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd lay that, thinking that Detroit's bats come alive here and they'll be able to put a stop to Oakland to a certain degree. They are 20-19 on the run line at home, 45-38 on the season on the run line. So they've been pretty profitable here this season on the run line. So I'll look at that for a play, maybe like a half unit play.
Dylan's a fan of the Mets, at least for the first 4 to 5 days of the month of July. We'll see how it kind of transpires for the upcoming weekend for the Mets. Guys, before we continue the conversation here and handicapping these games, let me tell everyone about the biggest and best contest happening every year during the NFL season. That's going to be over at Circa Sports. Circa Millions and Circa Survivor are back for this upcoming NFL season. 14 million in guaranteed prizes are up for grabs. Mr. Stevens, Derek Stevens, a great friend of the Sports Gambling Podcast. He's in a generous mood, as he is every NFL season. Circa Millions, it's pretty simple. You make 5 NFL picks against the spread each week. Each spread you pick correctly, you get a point, and you try to climb the leaderboard and get into that money. Circa Survivor, also, you just pick a different money line winner each week. If your team wins, you advance for the next week. But the caveat is you can't use that team again. But again, you can get all the details over at circasports.com. Again, all the details at circasports.com. And look, Sean and Ryan are going to be out in Vegas at the Circa Sportsbook in the last weekend in August. So if you want to hang out with the guys, maybe grab a drink with them, go ahead and get out there. I'll tell you right now, I am going to enter the contest. So when I do win, I'm going to throw a huge party on a yacht for everybody at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. So boys, make sure you got your Speedos and your bird dog shorts ready to be on the yacht with me when we do, or when I do win the Circa Million. So again, all the details over at circasports.com, and come hang out with Sean and Ryan. Maybe some other guys will be out there for the last weekend in August at the Circa Sportsbook. All right, guys, let's keep the conversation going here. Let's get into the next game. We got a 2:10 Eastern start. The Chicago Cubbies are in Milwaukee to take on the Brewers. Cubs are starting Marcus Stroman, and I see Freddie Peralta is getting the start here for the Milwaukee Brewers. Cubs are a minus 120 road favorite, even money on the money line for the Milwaukee Brewers. Total set at 8. Run line minus 1.5 plus 140 for the Cubbies, and plus 1.5 minus 165 for the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's see here. Lonte, take us away, man.
Yep. Yeah, man. So a similar handicap to what Scott was on yesterday, man. I think it's a little bit too much respect for Stroman and the Cubs here. I do like Stroman and Steele. That's pretty much the only times I can bet the Cubs. But again, I think this spot lines up for Milwaukee. I think we can also see some runs here. Both teams have been putting up, 5 earned runs in the last 10 games and hitting the ball extremely well. Almost 10 hits per team in their last 10. Milwaukee 22-19 as a dog, and they have been playing well lately, especially offensively. Which, I mean, we all know that's been their Achilles heel all season is their offense, and they're hitting the ball pretty well right now. And I think they might can get to Stroman here. He's been human in his last 2 starts, 8 earned runs combined in those 2 starts. He hasn't pitched as deep into games as he usually does. I think before his last 2 starts, he had went 6+ in 7 straight. And I don't think he got past the 5th, if I'm not mistaken, in his last 2 starts. So I think Milwaukee's a good side here. I mean, Peralta, he's got to cut down on giving up the long ball and some hard hits. He's allowed, a home run in 9 of his last 11 starts, 2+ in 4 of those. But again, I mean, 2 earned or fewer in 2 of his last 3 starts. So if he can keep the ball out of the air, I think he'll be fine. The Cubs are also 1-5 in their last 6 versus winning teams, and 1-5 in their last 6 versus righties. So I think Milwaukee has a good edge here. I think they're a good home dog here.
Yeah, I agree. When I kind of dove into the numbers here, especially for Peralta, the home and road splits it's a night and day difference for him. You mentioned it, Lante, that at home he's been he does have a 4-3 record, but he's a 3.75 ERA versus on the road
Yep.
just a 1-4 record with a 5.82 ERA. I know in June it wasn't a great month for him, but I think there is some value here on the Brewers at home here. And you mentioned Marcus Stroman. I'm not going to take a lot away from the London series. I know he did leave that game with a hand injury, quote unquote. But his last start coming back from the London series against the Guardians, who offense has really turned around. He gave up 5 earned runs in that game. He did have 7 strikeouts, but he didn't get any run support in that game where the Guardians shut out the Cubs 6-0. So I think this might be an opportunity for Freddie Peralta and the Brewers to maybe continue getting to Marcus Stroman here, who's kind of been fading at least over the last 2 games. So I agree with you. Give me the Brewers here as well. D-Rock, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be on the other side. I took the short number with the Cubs here. I made them a minus 130 favorite. Lante, you're right. The only people I really want to back with the Cubs are Stroman, maybe Justin Steele sometimes. But Stroman, he's actually pitched better on the road than at home this season. He's only allowed just 2 runs in his last 2 road starts, not including the London series. And Cubs won all 3 of those games. So last time he faced the Brewers was opening day, but he did go 6 scoreless innings. He didn't even allow a single run. Cubs won that game 4-0. Obviously, it was opening day, so much different teams. But his hard hit has been one of the lowest in the league, only around 26%. His ground ball rate is around 70%. Those are the kind of guys I really want to back. So I'm also not a huge Freddie Peralta fan. Munaf mentioned it. He didn't really have a good June. He gives up the long ball a little too much for my liking. So Cubs got to turn this around sometime. I think with their ace on the mound, I'll back the Cubs here at this short price.
All right. Next game on the board. That was the last of the early games, at least. We're getting into the evening slate here. 6:40 Eastern start between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Miami Marlins. I'm seeing Jack Flaherty is going to get the start here for the St. Louis Cardinals, and Yuri Perez gets the start here for the Miami Marlins. Marlins are a home favorite of minus 125, plus 105 on the money line for the St. Louis Cardinals. Total is set at 8. Run line minus 1.5 plus 155 for the Marlins, and plus 1.5 minus 180 for the St. Louis Cardinals. Start here with Jack Flaherty. Thus far this season, he's kind of been up and down for the St. Louis Cardinals pitching staff. His last start was, I think, one of his better starts when I was digging into this game here against the Yankees. Maybe possibly his best game of the season. 6 shutout innings in that game against the Yankees at home. Only allowed 4 hits in that game. Did have 2 walks. And then prior to that, he had given up 6 earned runs in each of his previous 2 starts before the start against the Yankees. For Jack Flaherty, he's been better on the road this season, where he does have a 2-2 record with a 3.73 ERA. You compare that to his home ERA, a 5.86. But a lot of times we've talked about Jack Flaherty on the pod. So a lot of those runs came in one of the starts earlier this season, which was against the Angels, where he allowed 10 earned runs, which is kind of inflating his ERA. It's really hard to predict what you're going to get from Jack Flaherty, because there's going to be a couple starts in there where he's going to look really good. And then, like I mentioned, against the Giants in the Nationals, where he allowed 6 earned runs in each of those games, we could get bad Jack Flaherty. On the other side, Yuri Perez has been absolutely fantastic for the Miami Marlins. His last start, I think we have to throw it out the window just because it was against the Atlanta Braves, and the Braves are just mashing every single pitcher out there. I don't know if you threw out Cy Young or Sandy Koufax out there, that they wouldn't be able to get to him, get to those pitchers as well. But his last start, he only lasted a third of an inning against the Atlanta Braves, allowed 6 earned runs. But prior to that, he had been absolutely phenomenal for this Miami Marlins pitching staff. On the season, he has 5-2 with a 2.47 ERA. He's been lights out at home, guys. 3-0 with a 1.01 ERA. He has a whip of 0.86 at home thus far this season in Miami. 36 strikeouts to 5 walks at home as well. I'm going to back the better pitcher here. I think that this Cardinals team, we talked about it when we last week when me and Scott did the NL Central division update, that this team has probably been one of the teams, if not the most disappointing team thus far this season. And a lot of it has to do with their pitching staff as well. So I like Yuri Perez here. I'm going to back him on the run line here. I think there's some a huge value there as well. Don't hit the money line at minus 125. We'll be on that as well. But I think at plus 155, I think the Marlins bats can get to Jack Flaherty and the Cardinals here. D-Rock, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, 100% agree, Munaf. Give me the Marlins big here at home and a bounce back spot for Yuri Perez. This game should not have opened up as a pick 'em. I bounced on the minus 110 as soon as it opened up. I favored him up to a minus 150. I don't mind minus 125. I agree. There's some value here as well on the run line, but I just think you got to agree. I think you got to throw his last start on the road out. They've been hitting everyone, the Atlanta Braves. He just ran into the best team. But outside of that, in his last 3 starts at home, he hasn't allowed a single run in 17 innings. The kid is a stud. I think this whole pitching staff, to be honest, the Marlins are a sneaky good team this year, and I like them to bounce back here. I'll take the minus 125, but I do like the minus 155, the plus 155, like you mentioned on the run line. Might be my dog of the day.
All right. Delonte, what do you got, man?
I mean, you guys took pretty much all the glory.
All right, next game. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, man, but I like Miami as well. I mean, I'll just throw out a couple more. 17-5 the last 22 home games, 20-7 versus losing teams. So they do get it done against lesser competition. St. Louis 1-7 in their last 8 road games versus winning teams. Miami 15-3 last 18 home games versus righties. So I think it all lines up for Miami to come out, bounce back spot for Perez, like you guys mentioned. I just don't see it with St. Louis. A little bit too much respect. I'm not sure. 125, I think it's still cheap. Should probably close around 140. If that's what I'm thinking. So I think I laid 115. D-Rock might have D-Rock always beats me to the good numbers, but I got 115 instead of 110. But I like him at home. I think it's value on the run line. Also, wouldn't be scared to lay it in the first 5 also.
Yeah, I agree. Again, Yuri Perez has just been so good for this pitching rotation for the Miami Marlins. I just kind of imagine if Sandy was not really in Cy Young form like he was last year, but if he was just a little bit better than he was, I just wonder where this Marlins team would be, especially in that NL East where it's been just the Braves kind of running away with the division. Right. All right, guys, before we get over to the next game on the board, it's NFL draft season and Best Ball Mania 4 is here. That's why you need to get over to Underdog Fantasy. Circa's giving away $14 million in prizes for their contest. Underdog is giving away $15 million in prizes for the upcoming NFL season. Underdog Pick'em is also a great way to get down on your favorite MLB and NFL season player props. There's so many ways to win over on Underdog, and Underdog is available in so many different states. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com and make sure to use that promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus of up to $100. Again, that's UnderdogFantasy.com using promo code SGPN. All right, boys, let's get over to the next game on the board. This is going to be one of the games that we talked about at the top of the show that doesn't have a pitcher yet. That's going to be the Phillies in Tampa, 6:40 Eastern start. I am seeing Christopher Sanchez is getting the start here for the Phillies, but I do not see a pitcher here for the Tampa Bay Rays. Do either of you guys see anything different as we are recording right now?
No, in the beginning I saw Jalen Beeks, then I saw Tyler Glass now, so I really don't know. Also, yeah. But this is my game, Munaf. So, like you said, no lines. But
yeah, if you have anything, go ahead.
Yeah. Christopher Sanchez going for the Phillies. It's only going to be a second start on the road. And, the first one was against the A's, which, I don't know how much stock you could put into that. But I do want to see a little more out of him on the road before I back him. But depending on the price, the Phillies, they're playing good baseball right now. They beat the Rays yesterday. Depending on what the number opens up, they'll probably open up as a dog with the Rays just being a wagon at home. But depending on who they throw in the number, maybe I could see myself on the Phillies as another dog. But I got to see the numbers. But that's kind of all I got for Christopher Sanchez.
Juan, did you have anything for this game?
Man, I'm kind of glad this game is off the board because I was having trouble with it, regardless of who the pitcher is. I mean, I like Tampa at home. They burned me yesterday. I thought that was a good spot for them. I thought they would land a cheap number, and the Phillies come out and blank them. Who was it? Nola. I think it was Nola. That pitched.
What a game!
Yeah, man. He's pitching. He was pitching like Cy Young or Koufax, Randy Johnson, all three combined. But yeah, man, I can't figure it out. I would probably lean to Tampa if Glasnow was on the mound and take his K prop over because he's been striking out every single person that's that bad. I think he had like 11 Ks in like 5.5 innings, if I'm not mistaken, his last start. So yeah, I'd lean that way if Glasnow's on the mound. But outside of that, I got nothing.
All right, next game on the board, we have a 7:05 Eastern start, a battle of AL East teams. Baltimore Orioles, they are in the Bronx to take on the New York Yankees. Kyle Bradish gets to start here for the Baltimore Orioles. And I am seeing Luis Severino is getting started here for the New York Yankees. Baltimore Orioles are a slight road favorite right now of -125. Home puppy for the New York Yankees +105. Total set at 9 with a little bit of vig towards the under. Run line -1.5 +130 for the Baltimore Orioles. And +1.5 -150 here for the New York Yankees. Lante, what do you got for the Yankees?
Yeah, man, I like the Yankees at home, short home dog. I do need to see more consistency from Severino. He's been fine at home though, but like he's just having too much inconsistencies from home and road splits. But he's had 2 earned runs or fewer 3 of his last 4 home starts, including the gym in Texas versus the Rangers. That I thought that was really impressive by him. Yankees they've been hitting the ball pretty well lately. They've won 6 of their last 8 home games. Offense has, got going 4+ runs in 6 of their last 9 games. They're hitting .253, averaging 5.5 runs per 9 on 8.4 hits. So in their last 10, I mean, that's really, really an improvement from originally when Judge was out of the lineup. They've covered 7 of the 10 run lines, and as an underdog, they're 18-12. Bradish, I mean, I'm not too high on him, not too low. I think he's okay, but he did give up 4 earned runs on 7 hits in the May matchup in New York. Again, 2 different teams from May, but he's been a lot better since. But I don't think the Yankees offense can. I think the Yankees offense can keep it going though. Severino just has to keep the hard hit rate down. I'm interested to see. I don't know if D-Rock has that, but he has been giving up a bunch of hard hits. If he can keep that down, keep the ball inside the park, I think the Yankees got a good chance of winning this against a struggling Baltimore offense. So I like the short home dog with the Yankees.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Severino at Yankee Stadium has been really good. 3 starts. He's 1-0 with a 2.55 ERA. He's allowed 5 earned runs in 17 2/3 innings pitch. And again, it's really been the home run ball that he's where he's given up most of his runs. And you're spot on that when I was digging into this game, looking at Severino's numbers, that start against the Texas Rangers, one of the best offenses in the major league this season. He held him to 5 hits and no earned runs in that game. Walks are a little bit of concern with Severino, as he's allowed at least 3 walks in 3 of his last 4 starts, and at least 2 walks in 5 straight starts. But you mentioned, Alonto, that if he's able to keep the ball inside the yard and lower his hard hit rate, I think this is a good opportunity for the Yankees to bounce back here. And Kyle Bradish has not been very good against the Yankees in his career. 3 starts dating back to last season, including one where he made against the Yankees on May 23rd. The Yankees got 4 earned runs off of him in 5 innings in that game. And I believe the Orioles did end up, the Yankees won that game 6-5. So I like the home puppy here as well in the New York Yankees here. D-Rock, you got agreement, or are you going the other way?
Well, I'll start with the total. I really didn't want to do it with the Orioles, to be honest. Like Mal and I said on yesterday's pod, regression has been coming for them, and it's here. I mean, I only made the Orioles a -110 favorite. I like the under 9. I made my total 8.6. Orioles, they've lost 4 of the last 5 games, and it's not so much their pitching. It's just the bats have gone to sleep for whatever reason. 10 total runs in 5 games isn't going to cut it, especially against teams like the Yankees. So Yankees, they've kind of turned it around. They're starting to hit. They're starting to win some games. And I know Luis Severino numbers don't look good, but like you guys mentioned, he's a much different pitcher at home. Lante, you mentioned his hard hit rate. It's only 34%. It's not that bad. His 2 worst hard hit rate games were earlier in the month against the White Sox and one on the road against the Dodgers. But outside of that, they've been in the low 20s, low 30s. So not too bad. But I think he can have success. If it gets to a +110, I can see myself on the home dog. But I do think he'll have some success against a struggling Orioles team. So give me the under 9.
All right, next game on the board, a battle of AL Central teams. Kansas City Royals, they are in Cleveland to take on the Guardians, 7:10 Eastern start. We got Jordan Lyles on the mound here for the Kansas City Royals, and Tanner Bybee is on the mound for the Cleveland Guardians. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Guardians are a minus 190 home favorite here, plus 160 on the money line for the Kansas City Royals. Total is set at 9 with a little bit of vig towards the over at minus 115. Run line minus 1.5 plus 110 for the Cleveland Guardians, and plus 1.5 minus 130 for the Kansas City Royals. Lyles has missed his last 2 starts after finally picking up his first victory for the Kansas City Royals in his last start. But he hasn't been too impressive, especially on the road. I think that's where it really sticks out for me for Jordan Lyles. 1-5 on the road thus far this season, 8.02 ERAs, allowed at least 4 earned runs in 7 of those 8 road starts. Opponent batting average of 276 in those road starts as well. The current lineup of the Cleveland Guardians is batting 267 against Jordan Lyles. 341 weighted 341 WOBA and an expected WOBA of 349 against Jordan Lyles this Cleveland Guardians lineup against Jordan Lyles is what I'm trying to say. Bybee has been dominant, at least at home, for the Cleveland Guardians, 3-1 with a 2.86 ERA in 6 starts. Guardians have won 4 of his last 5 starts as well, and each of those wins has come by at least 2 earned runs. The Guardians have kind of owned this series between the Royals dating back to the 2021 season. Up to this season, they're 28-13 against the Kansas City Royals. And Royals, again, the bats are struggling for them here as well. They're number 25 in WRC plus, number 22 in team batting average, and number 22 in on-base percentage. So I know we had the old conversation about Jordan Lyles, and when I saw the sports book starting to put up those graphics, that's when I kind of, got away from it. But I think I'm going to go back to it here and fade him in his first start back here. I think he was dealing with an illness. Either that or he got really sick after he got that first victory and maybe went out and partied a little too much and got some alcohol poisoning. But I'm going to go with the Guardians, minus 1.5 plus 110 on the run line here for the Guardians. And their bats have woken up as well for the Guardians. So run line here for me on the Guardians here. Lante, what do you got?
Yeah, I lean that way also. I think a better way to I guess play it would be the team total over for Cleveland. They've scored 6 earned in 4 of the last 5 games. Cleveland's hitting 260 in their last 10 on 9.5 hits, almost 5 earned per 9. They've also been mashing righties, 283 in their last 10. Just like, I mean, no need to go over the Jordan Lyles numbers. I mean, you went over them. They speak for themselves. And you mentioned it at the top also, Cleveland's bats have woken up. Man, here I think that they just come out. They might score double-digit runs here. So give me the team total over for Cleveland. I'm not seeing a number on that, Munaf. Have you seen that?
I haven't. You have one? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's at Caesars. Team total at 5.
Yeah, I'll take it. Is it what is it, juiced or is it like reduced?
No, minus 110.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I think they can score north of 7 runs here. So give me the team total over. Slight lean to you on that run line when I've been, especially at that plus price. I think plus 110 is a bargain for that, especially with Lyles on the mound.
D-Rock, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm honestly still in shock Jordan Lyles was able to get his first win against the Rays. But yeah, we're going to continue to fade him. Getting plus money on the run line was very tempting as well. But I won't back you away from the team total. I like that as well. Jordan Lyles, he's allowed 3 or more runs in 14 of his last 15 starts. Guardians, excuse me. They've been hitting the ball recently as well. And the Royals, they've lost 2 or more runs on the road in 6 of their last 7 starts. So whenever they're on the road, they lose by a lot. So I'll take the Guardians on the run line, and I'll hop on the train with you on the Guardians team total over 5 as well.
All right, next game on the board, we have a 7:10 Eastern start between the Texas Rangers and the Boston Red Sox. Nathan Eovaldi gets to start here for the Rangers, and Cutter Crawford on the mound here for the Boston Red Sox. Rangers are a minus 140 road favorite here, plus 120 on the money line for the Boston Red Sox. Total is set at 10, with the vig towards the under now, minus 115. Run line minus 1.5 plus 115 for the Rangers, and plus 1.5 minus 135 for the Boston Red Sox. D-Rock, take us away.
Yeah, two plays here for me. I took the Rangers and Eovaldi on the money line, -130 when it opened. I made him a -150 favorite. I also took the under 10.5. That number seemed extremely high to me. Even at a 10, I'll take the under. I made my total 9.2. Nathan Eovaldi's just been lights out on the road this season. His hard hit rate on the road this season in 10 games is only 33%. He's been able to get a lot of ground balls. He goes deep into games, which really helps the bullpen for the Rangers. Rangers were able to get back in the win column yesterday. Nice 5-2 win over the Red Sox. And the Rangers, they've been good all year on the road, 24-17 straight up on the road, 25-16 on the road line. Cutter Crawford on the other side, he hasn't been terrible. His hard hit rate is in the low 30s. He just hasn't gotten the run support in his last couple of outings. Red Sox, they haven't been scoring a bunch either. They're 6-4 towards the under in their last 10. So I think we see the Rangers win. They start to build momentum a little bit towards the All-Star break, and this game kind of goes under. Maybe like the game we saw yesterday, 6-2, maybe 7-1 type of game. But I think Rangers win here, and I'll take the under.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned what stuck out for both of these pitchers was their home and road splits, right? Number one, like you mentioned, Nathan Eovaldi has been absolutely fantastic for the Texas Rangers. And this is familiar territory for Nathan Eovaldi, right? Going back to Fenway Park, where he was part of the World Series run, I believe back in 2019 with his Red Sox team. And for Cutter Crawford, he's gotten in trouble at home in Fenway Park. Seven games he's pitched in, 3 starts he's had at Fenway Park. He's 0-1 with a 5.0 ERA. 5.04 ERA. And then on the road, he's 3-3 with a 2.91 ERA in 9 appearances. And 5 of those 9 were starts for Cutter Crawford. So again, you have the better pitcher on the mound. You have the better offense as well. And the Red Sox, like you mentioned, I know if you kind of go back and look at Brian Bell's starts, they haven't been able to provide run support for him either. And that, again, like you mentioned, D-Rock, that's been the theme for Cutter Crawford as well, that the run support hasn't been there for him either. So I'm going to go with the better offense. I'm going to go with a better pitcher. 1 + 1 = 2. Give me the Rangers -140 on the money line here, Lante.
Yeah, I had a hard time picking a side on this game, but finally, D-Rock, I got a good number with you. I took the 10.5 under also. I think that's a tad high with both pitchers on the mound. 53% of the road games have went under for Texas. 6 of the last 10 under for Boston. Although they play to the over at home, like long term throughout the season, I think Eovaldi throws a solid game, against his former team. Insano brought that up in the chat also. So I just don't think that they can get to 11 runs with the way that both of these pitchers have been pitching. I mean, especially Eovaldi. Now it does become a problem once he gets, like if Eovaldi gets jammed up pretty early or leaves the game for whatever reason, and we have to face that Texas bullpen, then that's where I think Boston could take advantage of it. But I think he's done a good job of going deeper into games, limiting the exposure to the bullpen. Under's also 5-1 the last 6 Boston home games. And I lean to Boston, but I mean, they're 1-4 last 5 versus righties. So not really a big play. I think my bigger play would be on the under, but as far as the side, I'll lean to Boston. Nothing strong though.
All right. Next game on the board. It's going to be a 9:40 Eastern start. We got the New York Mets. They are in Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks. Carlos Carrasco gets to start here for the New York Mets, and Ryan Nelson gets to start here for the Tampa Bay, Arizona Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are a -130 home favorite, +110 on the money line with Cookie Carrasco and the Mets. Total is now at 10.5. Run line -1.5, +155 for the Diamondbacks, and +1.5, -180 for the New York Mets. I'll start here with Cookie Carrasco. This was kind of the theme that we talked about pitchers in the A's and the Tigers game, is that I couldn't back either one of these pitchers. I'll just start with that. But Carrasco on the road thus far this season, 1-2 with a 4.91 ERA over his last 3 games, 0-1 with a 6.94 ERA. The Mets have lost 5 straight starts when Carlos Carrasco is on the mound, and 4 of the 5 games have seen 9 or more runs scored when Carrasco gets those starts. For me, Ryan Nelson, when you take a look at his numbers, we just talked about it with the Boston Red Sox and the Texas Rangers game, is that the home and road splits is what really sticks out about Ryan Nelson here. At home at Chase Field in Arizona, 2-3 with a 7.09 ERA and 8 starts. Now you take a look at what he's done on the road this year. 3-1 with a 2.81 ERA. So a huge difference from what he's doing at home and what he's doing at road. And it kind of makes sense as well, right? Because we've seen that Chase Field is a hitter's ballpark, right? There's so much, outfield grass out there over there in Arizona. This number is now at 10.5 for the total. It's climbing for a reason. I was able to get a 10. I still like this at 10.5. I think the offenses will be on display here. If you're able to get a 5.5 within that first 5 innings total at 5.5, I like that over as well. I'm just going to fade both pitchers here. I know Nelson has been pretty decent over his last couple starts, but like I mentioned, those have been on the road for him. His last start was against Colorado at home, gave up 5 against the Giants on the road. He did great there. Against the Brewers, he was good as well. But then you take a look at his home start against the Phillies. He allowed 5 earned runs, 10 hits in just 4 innings pitched. Did a pretty good job against the Atlanta Braves, but he still did allow 3 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings pitched in that start as well. So couldn't put my money on either side here, but I do like the total here. I'll still back it at 10.5. It's a big number, but it's a big number for a reason, D-Rock.
Yeah, I don't hate it, to be honest. I mean, I made my total 10.1. If it gets down to a 10, you got to grab the over.
Yeah.
Maybe live bet over as well, but can't pick either side, to be honest. I get why the D-backs are the favorite, but Nelson, like you mentioned, he's just not good at home. His hard hit rate is constantly in the high 40s. Not to say Carlos Carrasco's any better. He's not good either, but I just don't want to back either pitcher, to be honest. If anything, like I said, maybe a lean first 5 over, because I do think both pitchers will give up runs. Maybe Snake's team total over, but I can't back either side. The only thing I like is the over here. I'm hoping the Mets stay undefeated in July.
We'll definitely see. Lante, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you guys, man. It was kind of hard for me to pick a side here, especially with Arizona. They've been struggling a bit as of late, lost 6 of their last 10. But the Mets are 1-7, last 8 in game 3s of a series. So, that's something to watch out for. I like Arizona in the first 5, but it's kind of like you gotta pick a streak, because the Mets usually get off to good starts and then they may blow it in later in the game. But do I want to trust Arizona's bullpen to actually get back in the game if they're down? So it's kind of like you got to pick a side, and it was hard for me to pick a side in there. I do lean to Arizona in the first 5, thinking maybe Nelson can be at least somewhat better, being that he's at home. He's pitched pretty deep into the game his last 2 starts. So, yeah, man, it's hard for me to pick a side. The only thing that I came up with was Arizona in the first 5.
All right. So let me go back to the 2 games that we did skip, just because we didn't have lines and or pitchers for those 2 matchups. So 8:10 Eastern start, AL West batter between the Mariners and the Astros. I do see George Kirby is getting a start for the Mariners. And then for the Astros, it is going to be Framber Valdez. Sorry, Lante, did you see anything different for this game, or do you have a handicap for this game?
Nah, man, but I love the Stros in this game. As long as it's a reasonable price, I'll probably be on them on the money line also. Man, Stros 3.5 games back of the D-backs. We just mentioned the D-backs struggling, so they're rounding their form right at the deadline. They're gonna get Jordan's coming back soon, right after the All-Star break.
He should be back soon, but then they also are gonna get an MRI on Altuve's. He has an oblique strain, so they're gonna wait on news on that. But I know I was watching the game today, and the 2 guys that have really stepped up in the absence of Jordan Alvarez had been Jose Abreu and Kyle Tucker. They've been doing absolutely fantastic for them.
Tucker's been raking.
Yeah, Kyle Tucker. I got in my notes right here, man. 10-game. It's like 10-game hit streak, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he had a hit today. That was when down the third base line and nobody was there. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been raking for sure. Man, Valdez, I'm a big fan of. Even though his record doesn't indicate it, he's been really, really good. 2 earned run in 5 of his last 6 home games. Also has 2 earned runs or fewer in 5 of his last 7 starts, regardless of location. Maybe look at his Ks and total outs prop due to Seattle's lineup being big on strikeouts. Also, Kirby. I mean, I like Kirby to a certain degree, but I'm just not a fan of this Mariners team, man. I mean, they're just up and down. I've probably been betting against them like the last month. They're 5-5 last 10, 18 and 22 on the road. So I'm just not a big fan of Seattle. Big fan of Valdez and Framber and this Houston Astros team in this matchup. Just depending on the price, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the numbers for Framber Valdez against the Mariners in his career. 9 appearances, 7 of which have been starts. He's 5-0 with a 1.94 ERA, 53 strikeouts in those 9 appearances for Framber Valdez, and he's had at least 7 strikeouts in 3 of his last 4 starts against this Mariners team. He did allow 3 earned runs in back-to-back starts last season, but again, the offense really did carry the Astros in those 2 games where they were able to get the victory. So, yeah, depending on the price, like Lante, you mentioned, I'll probably be on the Astros here as well. D-Rock, did you have anything for this game?
Not too much to add, but I would say Insano makes a great point. Astros bullpen has been taxed recently, so if you are going to back the Astros, depending on the number, I do expect them to open up as the favorite at home, but maybe first 5 look towards, but I'm biased. I really like George Kirby. I don't think he's as bad as his numbers are indicating. His hard hit rate is only at 30%. The only bad outing I would argue is on the road against the Yankees. But other than that, I think he really bounced back and had a really good outing against the Tampa Bay Rays in his last 7. He went 7 innings, only 2 hits, 2 earned runs. He struck out 7. So
Yeah, burn me there, D-Rock.
I think maybe we could see a lower type game, a lower scoring game. Maybe if we get an 8.5, maybe an under. But I got to see what the numbers come out as. If I could get a plus 130, plus 135 with George Kirby, I'm a sucker for him. I'll probably be on the Mariners.
Yeah, I think I like the under in this game as well, just depending on the number. And this is a great point that Insano mentioned about the bullpen being taxed for the Astros. And in that case, if you're a prop player, that you maybe want to look at Valdez's over on his outs recorded. I know like books like DraftKings offer those type of props. And then George Kirby, like D-Rock mentioned, he's been going he's gone at least 6 innings in his last, at least in 4 straight starting. He's gone at least 7 innings at 2 out of his last 3 starts. So yeah, if these pitchers are going along well, I think the under will be play here as well. And if you want to back these pitchers, maybe just take a look at their outs recorded to go over in this matchup. So again, as of right now, we don't have lines, but that's kind of where we're leaning in this game between the Mariners and the Astros. The other game was the White Sox and the Blue Jays. I see Kikuchi is going to get the start for the Blue Jays, and I don't see a pitcher right now for the Chicago White Sox. D-Rock, you see anything different?
No, I do see Kikuchi. I saw Cease earlier. Then I saw Banks. So could be a bullpen game here, but if it is a bullpen game, I probably would lean with the Blue Jays here. Kikuchi, he's kind of regressed a little after that hot start to the season. He had a bad game against the Red Sox in his last start, and he is worse on the road than at home. But his hard hit rate on the road hasn't been terrible lately. And the last time he faced the White Sox, he did go 5 scoreless innings. So, I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. I've got to continue to fade this White Sox team, especially if it is a bullpen day. Their bullpen is one of the worst in the league. So maybe Blue Jays first 5, just eliminate the bullpens. But depending on the number, if we could get a plus price with the Blue Jays, I'll happily take that.
Lance, anything for the game?
Yeah, I just I'm with you. If we can get Toronto at a plus price, I'll be on them. Ironically, like both teams do have like the same exact numbers in certain categories. They're both 5-5 in their last 10. Chicago's 500 at home, Toronto's 500 on the road. So I think that tells a lot about them being as mediocre as possible. But slightly lean to Toronto, especially if they're a dog. If they're under like 120, 125, I'm probably going to have a unit on them.
All right, last game on the board. We got the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are in LA to take on the Dodgers. This is going to be a 10:10 Eastern start. Johan Oviedo gets a start here for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Julio Urias gets a start here for the LA Dodgers. Dodgers are a minus 240 home favorite, plus 200 on the money line for the Pirates. Total set at 8.5, a little bit of big towards the over. Run line minus 1.5, minus 120 for the Dodgers, and plus 1.5 even money for the Pirates. Lante closes out strong.
Yeah, man, I like Pitt here. If you actually look at the series between these two, Pitt's been dominant in the series, 7-3 in the last 10. Average margin of victory is 3.1 runs. So they played really well at home and in Dodger Stadium. So I like Pitt here. I thought we would get a little bit higher of a number, but I'm guessing that the books want to see Urias pitch another game, but he hasn't been good since he returned. He gave up, I think, 6 in his last outing, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me on that if I'm wrong. I just don't have the numbers right in front of me. But I do like the over also. Pitt has 8 earned runs in 3 of the last 5. The Dodgers are over in 8 of their last 10. Oviedo solid on the road with 1 earned run in 3 of his last 4 road starts, 2 earned runs or fewer in 7 of his last 10 starts, regardless of location. Both teams, 500 in their last 10, so it's not much there as far as picking a side. And I mentioned Urias not looking good in his return. I like Pittsburgh here, man, at this number. I thought we were going to get a little bit closer to maybe 220, but I think it's a good bet to play Pittsburgh here. They're going to probably be my dog of the day, actually.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Julio Urias has just not been very good. His first start back after about a month and a half, was against the Kansas City Royals. He allowed 5 earned runs in just 3 innings pitched. I think that's a red alarm when we talk about how bad the Royals offense has been, at least this season. And now you're going up against the Pirates. I think they did get the victory against the Pirates on Tuesday night. Did the Pirates against the Dodgers. I know Julio Urias has been good at home at Dodger Stadium, but I think I do like the over more as my favorite play in this game. I don't trust Oviedo either, but the value is on the Pirates here at a 2-1 underdog price. Oviedo's last start was against the Milwaukee Brewers, where he allowed 8 earned runs and 5 innings pitched off of 9 hits. And just over his last 5 games, he's 0-5 with a 5.34 ERA. The Pirates have lost by at least 2 earned runs in 5 straight games when Oviedo has started. And he did face the Dodgers earlier this season, 5 1/3 innings pitched. He allowed 4 earned runs in that start. So, and again, on the road hasn't been very good, 1-4 with a 4.43 ERA. So I think over 8.5 is my favorite play in this game, but I also do lead with the Pirates. If you had a gun to my head, I'll pick on the side here, D-Rock.
Yeah, there's no way I could lay this huge number with the Dodgers with how bad their bullpen has been this season. As for the total, I agree, Munaf. I'm on the over. I grabbed an 8, still like the 8.5. I made my total 9.2. Shout out Mal. He was right. He said yesterday either Pirates were going to win last night or they're going to win today, and they did. Dodgers blew it in the 9th inning, gave up 3 runs late. Their bullpen's just been bad all season.
I feel like Mal's been on the big dogs as of late.
Mal
like
just flips a coin and he thinks that something's
man,
gonna happen.
I gotta give him credit, bro. He's been on a couple of big dogs and they've cashed like plus 200 or better, and he's cashed. That's
every dog will find his bone every once in a while,
Yeah.
So. I don't want to get Matt. Don't want to hype Mal up too much. I gotta give him his flowers.
Give him a little bit. I gotta give him his flowers, Munaf, a little bit, man.
Nah, fuck his flowers.
No, but you guys are right. Julio Urias, he didn't look good in his first start, and I thought that was a good start for him to kind of get his rhythm back going against the Royals, and he just didn't look good. Gave up 5 runs in 3 innings, and Munaf was right. Johan Aviado. Did I pronounce that right? Oviedo. See, I was messing you up now.
Man, yeah.
Whatever. So he allowed.
Just call him Avi.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. He gave up 8 runs in his start against the Brewers. So 2 pitchers I kind of want to fade right now. Plus, we got winds blowing out into center field tomorrow night. Sets up perfect for an over.
Love it. All right, that is going to be the last game on the Thursday schedule. One order of business left. That is going to be our locks and dogs for the Thursday games. D-Rock, why don't you lead us off?
Sounds good. I'm going to take the Marlins here in a bounce back spot for Yuri Perez. Minus 125. I think that's a great number for a guy that hasn't allowed a single run in his last 3 starts at home in 17 innings. Cardinals are a complete fade. I don't know why they keep getting respect from the book, so I'm going to continue to take the short price with the Marlins for my lock. As for my dog, Munaf, you kind of convinced me a little, or Delonte. I think one of you either said the Tigers on the run line plus 155. I love it. I mean, I'm not a Michael
Yeah.
Lorenzo fan, but his hard hit rate hasn't been that bad, and I think he could take advantage of this A's team against Hogan Harris, who's just been awful on the road. So I think the Tigers could win by 2 or more runs. Give me a plus 155. That I feel like that's a steal. I needed a minus 110 to take him on the run line. So plus 155. Yeah, I'll be all over the Tigers for my dog of the day.
All right, Lante, what do you got, man?
Yeah, man, we just went over my dog. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh at the plus 200 price. I mean, they've had recent success in against the Dodgers in this series. Man, I mentioned it 7-3 in their last 10, and they're winning by margin. They're not winning by 1 run. I mean, they did win this last meeting by 1 run, but outside of that, or including that, still beating this team by 3.1 runs per win. I like Oviedo or Avi. I don't know how to say his name. Sorry if his family's watching. I apologize to him, man. But I like him. He's been pretty good. It's 2 earned runs in 7 of his last 10. I think Pittsburgh can get it done here, man. So I like them at the big dog 2-1 on the money line. As for the lock, I'm going with the Cleveland team total over. We mentioned it earlier. Their bats have woken up. 6 earned in 4 of the last 5 games. They're hitting 260 in their last 10 on 9.5 hits. I mean, and Jordan Lyles is on the mound. I mean, should we say even more? They should probably hit this first 5 innings. So give me Cleveland team total over 5 at minus 110.
All right. For my lock, I'm gonna go with the Yankees money line as my lock. I don't want to give it out as a dog because it's only a plus 105 price, but I'm going to trust Severino in this spot. We talked about, D-Rock has been spot on with the hard hit rates for these pitchers as we handicap these games. And Severino, we talked about the home and road splits that he's been so good at Yankee Stadium that if he's able to keep the ball in the ballpark in Yankee Stadium, I think that he'll put a gem of a game here for the New York Yankees. And Kyle Bradish, like I mentioned over his career, just has not been very good against his New York Yankees team. So I'm going to take the Yankees plus 105 on the money line as my lock. For my dog, let's go with the Guardians run line minus 1.5 plus 110. It's not a big dog price either, but it is back to fading Jordan Lyles, especially on the road. And this Guardians offense has really turned it around thus far this season, over the last couple weeks here. And again, it's for Jordan Lyles' first start over the past couple weeks here. And again, the main thing for me is that it's on the road here. It's just more of a fade of Jordan Lyles with the Kansas City Royals. And I talked about the batting numbers as well for the Kansas City Royals, that they're bottom 5th in a lot of those statistical categories that I like looking at, with team batting average, WRC plus, and all those fun stats. So I'll take the Guardians minus 1.5 plus 110 on the run line as my dog of the day. All right, gentlemen, that is going to do it for this edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast. D-Rock, anything else we want to mention before we get out of here, bud?
No, just gonna go have some Mexican food tonight and just enjoy the night. Hopefully it gets a little cooler out, but yeah, nothing else.
Lance, anything else?
Yeah, man, I got nothing, man.
Nothing at all. He's ready to get out of here because he wants to go watch some NBA stuff.
What's a lock for tonight? Summer League.
Let's see. I'm going with Charlotte, man, minus 1.5. Overreaction. They opened 4.5, and now they're at 1.5.
Wow.
I think they'll come out play with a little bit more urgency after getting destroyed by Miami.
Brandon Miller was bad.
Yeah, but Miami shot the cover off the ball. But Charlotte will be better today. I think they will be. So minus 1.5 if you want to dabble in that.
There we go. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow in some form or fashion for the MLB Gambling Podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel for the MLB Pod, go ahead and do so. Just hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't already liked the video here on the live stream, please go ahead and hit that like button for us. And again, more importantly, if you haven't left us a rating and review, haven't seen many come across, but we really do appreciate if you guys can leave us a 5-star or a 1-star. Just leave us a review. Hopefully it is a 5-star, and leave us a comment there of anything that you want to you like about the show or dislike. But truly appreciate if you guys can do that for us. Make sure to follow D-Rock on Twitter at Rock with 2 Ks, ROCKK24. Follow Lante on Twitter at XXLanteXX. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd824. Till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off and let it ride.